What's going on, y'all? Welcome into another episode of Bleav in Kentucky. Bleav.com, Bleav Podcast Network, number one podcast network for professionals. Y'all be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and tell your friends about the podcast. Our guest today, this gentleman's ears burn every single week because he's talked about every week on the podcast. You hear us mention Touraine watches. We got the founder himself, Dave Moggio, founder of Touraine watches, on here with us this afternoon. Dave, man, welcome to Bleav in Kentucky. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. It's been a while. Every week I've just been tuning in and love the show.
Oh man, I appreciate it. And like I said, it's last week you had Freddie Maggard on, former UK quarterback, and he had said that he had listened and enjoyed it. And like I told him, I'm trying to get better each and every week. That's kind of how I'm approaching it. So trying to do better this week than I did last week, and hopefully we can do that and put out another good episode for everybody to listen to.
Sounds good to me.
So you said this is your second podcast ever? You said you messaged me and said you had jumped on one before this one, and now you're ready to hop on this one. So this is number two.
So this is number two. Number one, I did a podcast for the University of Georgia, the DGD podcast.
Okay.
The host, Robert, he's outside of Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm located in Charlotte. So it was a pretty good experience. I mean, first time ever doing it. Might have been a little off in the first couple of questions, but got through it.
Yeah, I think I was on with Robert, and he's a good guy, man. Even if he is a Georgia Bulldog, he's all right. So
Yeah, exactly. I was afraid to tell him where I went to college, but we'll just let that one ride.
He's a Georgia guy. Where'd you go? Georgia Tech or Auburn?
No. So they have a big game on September 4th against Clemson. And I went to Clemson for a couple of years back in college, and they're coming to play here in Charlotte, and so I was good about it.
That's right. So, in the Charlotte area, were you born and raised over there in ACC country, or?
Oh no! I was born and raised outside of Philadelphia, but I migrated down to North Carolina probably about 13 years ago or so, and lived in Greensboro for a little bit, and then I've been living in Charlotte, and I made it my home. Love it here.
It's really nice over there. I always enjoy it. My wife and I pop over there. I live outside of Knoxville, so I'm about 3 hours away. We're about 3 hours from anywhere: Nashville, Charlotte, Atlanta, Birmingham, Lexington. And so we pop over to Charlotte quite a bit, and every time we go over there, we always have to stop at Mertz, Heart and Soul, the restaurant there on College Street downtown.
I've been there.
Love it, man.
I've been there.
Can't go wrong with the chicken or the catfish or the collard greens or whatever they got, man. You always leave stuffed and feeling good.
Oh, the food here, man, it's really good. Next time you're in town, we'll have to catch up. There's a few places that we can go for barbecue or southern food like that. It'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, man, tell us about Touraine. Tell us how the idea first came into your mind, or what sparked it to get where it is now with all the fine time pieces and accessories that you have.
Oh man, well, it's a really interesting story. I think I bought my first watch when I was like 14 years old. I was doing chores around the house to save up. I was mowing the lawn. I was, cleaning gutters. I was doing anything I could to earn some cash. And the first watch I ever bought was it was like a Swiss Army watch, and I wore that all the way through high school into college, and I still have it today. And man, does it need to be cleaned, but I still have it. And I've always just been into watches. I always liked just how they worked, the mechanics of them, like how small they are, and you have like these little gears in them and everything. It always like fascinated me. And as I got through college, became like an heirloom. When I turned 21, I got a watch from my mom, and still have that watch too. And as I carried through life, always had moments kind of marked by like what I was wearing. And what kind of takes you back to time, like when you last wore this. kind of signify something deeper. And so having that in my background, I saw a lot of what was being sold in $100 price range, $200 price range, and I went way up market to some of the Swiss stuff, and then I went way down market to some of stuff you find in a drugstore. And to me, the majority of the difference really came down to how big their marketing budget was, because that's what basically drove the price. A lot, with a few exceptions, there's a lot of stuff out there that is at a certain price point, like 300 or less, that just really isn't built that well. Doesn't really use a lot of good components in it. And so I researched it more and tried to figure out, okay, how can I do this myself? Because I think everybody deserves something nice, and it took me back to being a kid and saving up my cash. And could you imagine if that watch fell apart, So I went and started to look into how to have it manufactured, what components would work the best. And I started very slowly. I started with just a simple watch, the Minimalist Legacy, and people loved it. And then we just took it from there. And I started in 2018, built the website myself, learned how to do ads myself, built social media myself, obviously had the watches made, had photography done, and ever since it's just been continual, consistent, moving forward. And just this week we announced our newest watch, which is kind of building on everything else that came before it. So each watch has been just a continual improvement, so that we can get to the point where I can sell something that someone's kid can save up for and keep for a decade or more for them.
Yeah. So what's the newest one that's out now? In addition,
the newest one that's out now it's called the Atlas. This is going to be probably the heaviest design yet, in that it's solid stainless steel all around, big chunky watch, and it's just using sapphire glass. It uses all the stuff you need to last a decade or more, and that's the whole purpose of most of my watches, is just get something out there that's just going to take the beating of day-to-day wear and not have any issues.
Absolutely. So you literally, from the ground up, started everything from building the social media, the website, the whole thing.
Now I have had some help. No, it's not just all. I if there's an area where I didn't know what to do, I reached out and got help. And I definitely had people who showed me the way as mentors that I met through Twitter and a few other places that guided me through. Here's how to arrange the business and stuff like that. But until Benjamin came on in 2020 or 2019, I think, one of the 2 years. He's been with us for a while. Until he came on, it was just a one-man show. So it's been very fun to watch it grow.
Absolutely. So LaTouraine.com. You hear us say it on every episode of the podcast. LA-TOURAINE.com. In addition to the Atlas, you already got the standbys, the Legacy, the Navigator, the Compass, the Red Crest, the Voyager, the Silk Rose, which is for the ladies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. All the bases covered. Absolutely. You scroll on down, and you got the advantages of our watches: water resistant, suitable for everyday use, crafted with timeless details, and then they can become a La Touraine VIP. So how can people do that?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the biggest thing is you want to be able to wear it every day. You don't have to worry about if it gets wet or not, or if you want to go out for a swim, go for a swim. I mean, it should be brought with you anywhere you want to go. And I think what we've done recently is built the things to last in those situations. And all the ones you just listed are the same way. I mean, we want to be able to fill everybody's, some niche in terms of what they're looking for. So we have the Legacy, which is the very simple minimalist watch that you can pass that one down for generations. There's a reason it's called Legacy. The Compass, which is that sporty chronograph that is very popular. Then we also have, of course, the Navigator, which is our pilot watch, and it just goes from there, and just try to fill everybody. So if someone wants a pilot watch, we have one for you. If someone wants a chronograph, we have one for you. And we've made these to last for the price range that they're in. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. And you can chat with support on the website too. Instead of social media, you can hit the chat and ask a question and get feedback right there on the website as well. So that's another nice feature for potential customers too.
Yeah, thank you. You'll be talking to me directly when you use that chat bot.
Cool.
So if I'm sleeping, I apologize. But I will get back to you. Saved your messages.
Absolutely. That is good to know as well. You mentioned the marketing and everything, the photography, the marketing. A lot of that marketing is you've partnered up with athletes, former players, coaches. Tony Delk, who was on this podcast for a year, co-hosting with myself, he was already endorsing it individually before you came on and sponsored the podcast. So how did you connect with all of the former players and celebrities that you got endorsed in La Touraine watches?
This is where Benjamin comes in. I mean, my business partner Benjamin, he is a very hard worker, very nice guy. Pleasure to work with him every day on this. And he managed to, he knew Tony, I think, from before through his UK connections. And, Tony is just such a nice guy. I mean, working with him was amazing. Walter McCarty. I don't want to start naming names. I know I'll forget somebody, so I apologize up front. But, we got Vernon Maxwell, Coach Daughtery. We have so many good people in the space. And, my hat's off to Benjamin for helping to get this all connected to try to build this family. We have podcasts like Bleav in Kentucky, and it's just building that network of really, really amazing people. And I think that's been one of the coolest things about all of this is just getting to talk to people that I grew up watching on TV. I mean, it's crazy to me sometimes that, Tony Delk is, wearing my watch. I mean, it means the world to me. It just means the world to me. And sometimes I'm just like, I feel like it's not real, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's Benjamin, man. Benjamin's done such a great job.
Yeah, so it was new Ben's ears will be burning too, because every episode is talk about Dave, talk about Ben, all things that La Touraine is doing. And Ben is, the one with Kentucky ties. Mount Sterling is where he's at. So he bleeds blue, and you guys even did the commemorative 25th anniversary edition for the '96 champs. Then that watch that thing was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, that one was tough because we had everything set up. Like I had the manufacturer, I had the design. We did pre-orders for it, and we ran marketing for it. I spent, money on ads for it. And at the end of the day, we just couldn't get enough people to purchase it for production run. So I refunded the people who did pay for it, what they paid. And it was just sad because, I know that we really all wanted to do this for Tony and Walter, and we want to do this for UK fans everywhere. And maybe in the future we will. But, it just didn't work out that time. And, maybe next time we can put something together that makes a little more sense and we can get this going for people. Because I do think that, that team was, probably the best ever in college basketball history. And I know that was the team that I was watching on TV as a kid. Tony just lighting up people was insane to watch. I think he was one of the first players that you could just watch him just hit threes all game long. And, seeing that and seeing how Walter's game translated, it was just really special for us to be able to partner with them to do something like this. And then next time we'll get something together for him and for all UK fans as well.
That sounds good. So were you in Philly watching the '96 team? Were you?
I was.
There? Okay.
I was. So there was a little player from Georgetown that I think we all know, who I was watching very closely because of the NBA draft that was coming up, and I was a Sixers fan. And of course, he saw Kentucky that year, and Tony was just, man. I mean, I would watch AI, but I mean, you tune in when Kentucky was playing because they were so good. And yeah, I just remember Tony just like it seemed like he just couldn't miss. He was just on fire that entire tournament. So yeah, definitely tuning in to watch them.
Yeah. So you're a Sixers fan. I guess you Eagles and Phillies and
I try to
Florida?
keep it quiet because I know you're a Cowboys fan, a Braves fan, but it's I was born there, man. I was born in Allentown, PA, an hour outside of Philadelphia. And if you were not a Philadelphia fan, something was wrong with you.
Hmm.
So, so it's ingrained in you to be a Philly fan. And even though I'm in North Carolina now, I mean, shout out to Philly Sports Network and all the Philly pods that are out there because, I'm a Philly guy. But that said, I mean, I love watching good players anywhere. So, you know,
It makes it
unless
fun.
they're wearing the Cowboys uniform.
Well, got two
No, it's all
two
good.
meetings.
You guys will probably beat us pretty soundly this year. It's all good.
We'll see. I'm in wait and see mode. Just
Yeah, same
McCarthy.
here.
McCarthy. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know, man. NFC East, you just never know. It's so
No.
unpredictable.
Yeah. No repeat winner in
Mm-mm.
years. Nobody's went back to back in I don't know how long. So, you know,
Early 2000s, maybe.
yeah. And I always say, and I think even every fan base, every, fan of all the teams, we could all agree on this. I think the NFC East is historically the most prestigious division in NFL because you have the Cowboys with 5 Super Bowls, the Giants with 4, the Washington football team with 3, and the Eagles finally contributed one. They finally brought one to the table. So that's 13 of the 50, however many Super Bowls there's been. So like roughly 25% of the
Yeah.
trophies are in the NFC East.
Mhm.
So last year, when like 6 and 10 won a division, and we were the worst division in the league, that's foreign territory for us.
It was. This is a weird year. I mean, I think sports in general were just off a little bit last year because of everything going on. But yeah, I think NFC East will be back. You know that. I mean, most physical division, and I think that they're getting a more young talent into the division as they've been picking up draft picks. And maybe not this year, but I could see them in the Super Bowl again next few years, easy.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Kentucky a lot, but this past draft, Jamin Davis, the linebacker from Kentucky, goes to the Washington football team, and the Cowboys picked the linebacker 6 or 7 spots earlier from Penn State, the Micah Parsons kid. I was hoping they would get, Jamin Davis. They did get Quentin Bohanna and Kelvin Joseph, defensive tackle and a cornerback from Kentucky. So, three cats right there on the two teams. And I'm already dreading seeing Jamin Davis. He's probably gonna wreak havoc for the next 12 years against the Cowboys, and he's gonna be doing it in that Washington uniform. So that's gonna be tough to watch.
A shout out to Calvin though. I know he's gotten some Australian love, so shout out to him. I hope he does well. I mean, he's going to do well, and the rest of the UK players. I think going to the NFL has got to be so exciting for them. And I mean, I'm excited to see how their careers grow.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's hard to believe it. I mean, it's right around the corner.
Yeah,
The NFL. Here as soon as September rolls around, they'll be starting. The week before that is college, but this coming week, a lot of Big Ten teams are already playing. Illinois and Wisconsin, and some of those guys are going to be playing this weekend. So, the whole wait for football is over, and high school's already started. So,
good.
Absolutely.
I really, I know this isn't an Eagles podcast, but I really want to see what they do this year because there's a lot of unknowns and. They've made a lot of moves. They made a lot of draft picks. They have a new coach. It'd be interesting to see how that all works out together.
Yeah,
I think the games against Dallas are going to be, as always, very tough. But I want to see what Jalen Hurts has. I think that's going to be exciting to see what we actually have a quarterback this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be, everybody beating each other up every
Yeah,
week.
that's for sure.
Knockdown dragouts every Sunday. Eagles,
Every
Giants,
Sunday.
Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, football team. However you slice it, it's gonna be the way it's always been, and whoever survives.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I do want to say something though. Sixers fan and Maxey, he had a really good playoff run. I mean, I was hoping that Doc would give him more playing time towards the end because he was one of the few that was stepping up to the challenge off of the bench. So I think he's got a bright future ahead.
He sure has. The first game against Michigan State, when he was at UK, he lit it up and, just kind of caught fire, and he was tearing it up again. Like you say, he came on strong at the end for the Sixers, and he's had some good summer league games already. And so he's a confident young guy, and it's only gonna continue to get better the more he figures things out.
That's what they need. They need someone that can take that shot. Ever since they lost Butler, they just hadn't had that person that just has that dog in them to take over at the very end. Because Embiid gets tired, he gets in foul trouble, and he's in the post. It's harder to get him the ball, but to have a wing that can just step up and, take over and take that shot is something that you need to win. And I think he was showing a lot of really good leadership out there. It was impressive to watch him.
Absolutely. We had
total steal.
Had Jake Fisher on, who had his new book out, about how tanking, built to lose, how teams have purposely been tanking throughout the history of the NBA. And of course, he's a Philly guy like yourself. And so I asked him, the favorite places to go for Philly cheesesteak. So I got to ask you the same thing. Because
okay.
I've never been to Philly, so all I know is the tourist thing. Pat's or Geno's, the stuff you hear as a tourist, but you as a local would know the real places that's, forget that stuff that's, touristy. So where would we go?
Yeah. Well, at least that stuff's touristy. So that's a good start. You'd avoid South Street altogether. Really, first of all, I'm from Allentown, so to claim Philly as my own would be horrible for anyone that's from Philly. But what I will say is that I would go down like pretty much every weekend, and the place that I would go to cheesesteaks is De Alessandra's in Roxborough. That is my pick for best cheesesteak in Philly.
De Alessandra's. Now, how far is Allentown from Philadelphia?
About an hour. 45 minutes if you're pushing it, but about an hour.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like a straight shot down 476.
Okay, so I have to scratch Philadelphia off the list one day
You should. Just whatever you do, don't go to an Eagles game wearing a Cowboys jersey or any Cowboys gear.
Y'all need to calm down, man. Y'all need to chill a little bit and stop trying to just beat people up because of a.
I'll tell you a story, and this is true. I went to a Monday Night Football game there. They're playing the Panthers, and I'm in Philly. Just got my ticket punched, walking up the steps into the stadium, and there's two dudes wearing Philly jerseys. They're just throwing haymakers at each other. And the game hadn't even started yet. So
two Philly fans?
Two Philly fans.
Eagles fans, Lord.
Yeah, two Eagles fans. So if they can't even get along with each other, how are they going to get along with anybody else?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Man, the game hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, the reputation is well earned, man.
Sadly. It's like I long ago stopped trying to defend it. It is what it is at this point.
Absolutely. So you just mentioned that the Atlas is the newest one. What, looking further down the road, what else y'all got in the works for La Touraine as far as watches or accessories or into the collection? So
the Atlas, that'll be coming out in October. We have the pre-order sales live on the website right now. Quantities are really limited on them, and I'll have 10 of each coming in. So that's what I mean by limited. And after that, we're going to be doing a diver watch. And so the diver, I'm trying to trap a little bit of a unique spin on it because every brand out there has a diver wash that looks pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try to put a little bit of a spin on it. And I'm hoping to get that wrapped up by the end of the year, so that it's around Christmas time, people have something nice to pick up. But that's the next thing after Atlas is that diver wash that, I know Tony likes the look of a diver, and I know that the 25th was a bit of a diver look. So we're gonna push forward with it.
Sounds good. And people can follow you on Twitter at Dave_watches, and La Touraine is at La Touraine on Twitter. So everybody check them out. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, at La Touraine. And if y'all would like to have your business or product advertised and promoted on the podcast, just go to Bleav.com and hit contact us. You can get in touch with them at the network. We can talk about whatever you have, just like we talk about La Touraine each and every episode. Talk about Dave and Ben, talk about La Touraine, we talk about the Compass, we talk about the Voyager. We're going to start talking about the Atlas that's on the way. Talk about your business or product the exact same way. We're promoted just the same on our social media. We'll put it on Instagram and the Twitter for Bleav in Kentucky and Facebook. And because I love to share whatever new stuff you put out on the website or your page, I kind of try to share it from time to time. And in addition to just talking about it, get people to see the post about it as well. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. I hope someone takes you up on that offer. Everybody should do it. I gotta say, being on this podcast, that was our first big break for advertising, and it's worked out really well. And I hope more people join. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, and appreciate it. We're definitely gonna keep on talking it up. And for everybody that goes to La Touraine, tell them you heard about it on Bleav in Kentucky. Tell Dave, hey, I heard it on the podcast, and go and check out a watch. I just went and bought me a Voyager. Got me a Red Crest. Definitely let us know. Give it a good feedback. In addition to everything that you're doing, starting the company, growing it, bringing Ben along, getting all the former players to endorse it. You recently became a new father. So how is that going?
Oh, it's going great. It feels like a second life has begun a bit, right? Like I had like 3 kids and then after kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a son. He's a little bit over 3 months now, and actually he's gonna turn 4 months in a couple of weeks. So we're at the halfway point, and it's been great, honestly. Definitely looking forward to the trouble we'll both get into together. My poor wife has her hands full, having 2 children in the house now instead of just me. And so it's gonna be good. I'm looking really forward to it.
And he's 3.5 months now, so you're starting to probably see a little personality. He's smiling and laughing, and you can see the wheels turning when he's looking around, and you see him taking stuff in. So it's a good age right now, for sure.
Yeah. He's starting to have a bit of an interactive personality to him now, and it's fun playing with him because he's starting to respond to everything again. So that's really, you're right. It is that time.
You're gonna start to see stuff that reminds you of yourself. Your wife will see stuff that reminds her of herself. And some of those traits, you'll be like, yeah. And some of them, you'll be like, oh, man. And you'll be like, they're little mini versions of you. So that's what you're going to see in addition to that. And that's a trip, man. You're like, whoa, man.
She's in trouble.
Honest. Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, you're right. We're definitely going to start seeing that. It's funny, depending on who, we have like friends or family over, to meet them, and depending on who it is, they're like, oh, he looks like you, my wife Sarah. Oh, he looks like you, and it's like, same baby, 2 different people. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how this all shapes out.
Yep, different points of view for sure.
Yep.
But 3.5 months, the getting them on a sleep schedule to sleep at night, that's however easy or hard that is. The teething that's coming, the teaching him to get him potty trained, all of those phases that you're about to get to, while you're going through it, we talked about it a little bit before we start recording. You might seem like it's never going to end. Oh, is he ever going to sleep through the night? Oh, you or your wife taking turns, whoever's getting up, however that's working out. Or, oh, his teeth, are these teeth ever going to come in? Is he ever going to stop being miserable? What? It seems like it's like, oh, and you kind of get zombified and you're like, oh, you're just dragging around. When you get through it, in hindsight, it's like, well, that teething wasn't as bad. We made it. We've made it. Now we're on the potty training. Oh, we made it through the sleeping, and now he sleeps all night. You get through it. It doesn't seem like you're going to, but you will.
We got through the 2-month period, like I think the first 6 weeks, and I think it's like he's leveling us up too.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think you're right. I mean, I know you're right. You have a lot more experience than I do.
y'all look up and he's 4 years old running around. You're like, phew, and it's just like that. It really is, Dave. It sure is.
Oh man. Well, we'll have to. I'm looking forward to that because we'll have to bring him around and get to meet some people. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, this has been fun, and look, everybody. We've been talking La Touraine. Now you get to hear from the main man himself. Had Dave on here talking about it, bragging on Ben, and of course Ben is bleeding blue like everybody listening. So, man, appreciate you taking the time to hop on the podcast. You killed it. It's hard to see this just your second one. You're just a pro at it. So, yeah, man.
I've been working from home for a while now, so, but no, thank you. I appreciate it. And, Ben, thank you again. But no, thank you, Vinny. And thank you, Tony, and everyone else who is associated with BBN. You all have been fantastic. And really it means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
I really appreciate you for been with Tony before you even knew who I was, and you still graciously joined in and sponsored this podcast that we did and been on here every week. And we definitely appreciate all you guys have done, and want to try to let everybody in BBN know what a great product that La Touraine really is. And y'all definitely be sure to listen to this episode and tell your friends about it. Go straight to Bleav.com and check it out, or it'll also be on aseaofblue.com. Jason Markham and all the guys, Big Blue Drew and James Strebel and everybody there always puts every episode of Bleav in Kentucky on A Sea of Blue, and there, appreciate them kind of promoting it, getting the word out as well. It's very cool of them to do it. So whichever way you want to listen, just be sure you do, and post it, retweet it, tell your friends about it. That good old fashioned old school word of mouth, and you can't beat that either. Tell your friends about La Touraine as well.
That's right. Thank you, and I hope everybody has a great 2021 football season.
Yeah, it's finally here. We're excited about it, and appreciate you, Dave. And this has been another wonderful, fun episode of Bleav in Kentucky, brought to you by Bet Online. So we see everybody next week. Appreciate y'all listening.